Well, look, the position of the government of Gibraltar is that that is a misconceived understanding of the reality of Gibraltar's financial services position today. It's our position in respect of Spain and every other entity that has Gibraltar on a tax haven list, and that position is obviously not going to change.
Is Spain tightening the screws in the middle of a negotiation?
This has nothing to do, in my view, with the negotiation. Remember that the position in relation to taxation with Spain is resolved in the international tax treaty that we entered into in 2019, but which we didn't ratify until March 2021. And in that treaty, what we've done is we treat each other in a way that cannot be described as a finance center or a tax haven and anything other than an entirely online, onshore state. So that those issues are resolved. But of course, we agreed at the time that entering into the treaty would mean that Gibraltar would no longer be listed as a tax haven by Spain after the effluxion of a period of time. That period of time has not yet passed. It was 2 years from after March 2021, and therefore all that is happening in this instance is a rollover of the position as it was before then until the time relevant has passed. The relevant time has passed.
Well, you say that, but it could have decided not to, because Spain has reduced the number of territories on its blacklist from 48 to 24 over the years. So this isn't a passive inclusion. It's not a rollover. It's an active inclusion, isn't it?
I don't think so. For all the reasons I've suggested to you a moment ago, I put it to you, it is in fact a rollover, with the effluxion of the period of time that we agreed still not having passed. I'm never going to defend an action by the Spanish government which is contrary to the interests of Gibraltar, and this of course is contrary to the interests of Gibraltar as much today as when they first put us on their list of tax havens. But I would also say that this is not a demonstration of Spain failing to act in keeping with its agreement to remove us from the list after 2 years of the International Tax Treaty coming into operation. If they do fail to remove us from the list once we have complied with the provisions of the treaty and the period that we agreed passing, then, as we've said, we will pull out of the International Tax Treaty, which is something that we can do. There is a mechanism in the tax treaty for us to pull out, and then the tax treaty will not be in effect between us and Spain, but that is not the moment that we are dealing with now.
So you don't see this as an act of bad faith in the middle of what has been described as positive, constructive negotiation?
Look, I see everything which is done to Gibraltar, either by Spain or by any other entity, which is unfair, as an unfairness. But if my opponent were trying to put pressure on me during the course of a negotiation, which I do not believe this is, I would certainly not give him the satisfaction of telling him that he was succeeding in putting pressure on me.
Are you not concerned that this can feed any element of our society that may mistrust Spain's will in this process and subsequently make it harder for you to sell a deal to your own people?
I have absolutely no intention of selling anything to anyone. When the time comes, if we are able to reach an understanding between the United Kingdom and the European Union on what a treaty should be for our future relationship with the European Union, it must be safe and secure, and it must stand on its own 2 feet as being safe and secure. But in the context of this particular aspect of our relationship with Spain, I'm not going to judge Spain more harshly than I should, because the 2 years have not yet passed.
Well, those 2 years pass in March, in 2 months' time.
No. This is 2 years after the coming into effect of the treaty, and that means not just when we have ratified the treaty, it means when we have ratified, when here also, of course, the United Kingdom, which is technically necessary to ratify, and Spain have ratified, and we have started the operation between the two, which is not exactly the same. I think we passed this and we brought it into effect on the 4th of March 2021. That doesn't mean that it's exactly that date. We are obviously working with Spain to agree the relevant 2-year date, which is the commencement of operation and coming into effect of the arrangements between us.
And do you expect Spain to delist Gibraltar then, or a year from now when it next reviews the list?
Let's be very clear. If we are not delisted in keeping with the agreement that we have with the Kingdom of Spain to be delisted, we will pull out of the international tax agreement. We comply with our obligations on the basis that our contractual partners, whether those contractual partners are in the private legal space or the international, public international legal space, comply with their obligations too.